Are you ready to face the real truth about life? I'm not talking about the kind of truth you read in a textbook or the polite answers people give you when you ask about their journey. I'm talking about the truth no one teaches you, the kind that hits hard and sticks with you. The lessons nobody talks about, the ones that shape you, challenge you, and if you let them, make you stronger. Are you truly ready to take a look at the hard truths of life? Let me tell you why I ask. Because most people, they walk through life avoiding the real stuff. They live on the surface, thinking if they ignore life's hardest lessons, they can somehow skate by without getting hurt. But the truth, that won't work. Ignoring the hard lessons won't save you from them. Life will bring you face to face with each one, whether you're prepared or not. So you have a choice. Face these truths now, learn from them, and grow stronger. Or let them surprise you when you least expect it. And let me tell you, when life throws these lessons at you, it doesn't go easy. So, ask yourself, are you ready? Are you ready to face the truths that can shape you into the person you're meant to be? Because if you are, I'm going to lay out the truths that will get you there. The brutal lessons that most people wish they'd known sooner. But remember, this isn't about avoiding the struggles. It's about walking through them and coming out on the other side. This is about finding strength where you thought you had none, and courage you didn't know was there. Are you really ready? Then let's go deeper. Imagine you're standing at the end of your life. You're looking back, and all of your choices, your victories, and your regrets are staring back at you. Now ask yourself, what would you want to see? What would you regret? What would you be proud of? Because the reality is, life's hardest lessons, the ones we're about to dive into, they're the difference between looking back with pride and looking back with regret. What if I told you that everything you truly want in life lies on the other side of these lessons? That without learning them, you could be holding yourself back from your biggest dreams, from your deepest joy, from a life that feels truly meaningful. What's at stake here is not just the success you see on the outside. It's not just about a bigger paycheck or a fancy title. This is about what lies deep within you, the fulfillment that comes from knowing you lived your life to the fullest, that you faced your fears, overcame your obstacles, and became who you were meant to be. Picture this, a life where you've never been taught that failure is part of the process. A life where you've spent all your time trying to please everyone else, only to realize at the end that you never truly lived for yourself. A life where you waited and waited for happiness to find you, only to realize it never comes knocking on your door. If you live like that, you might reach the end of your life feeling like you missed something crucial. And let me tell you, that feeling of regret, of wondering, what if, that is something no one wants to experience. That's why these lessons matter. They matter because if you can understand them, if you can take them to heart and live by them, you'll find yourself living a life without regret. A life where you know you gave it your all. But if you don't learn them, if you keep avoiding the truth, life will pass by. And one day, you might realize you missed your chance. So, think about what you truly want. And remember, these lessons, they're the keys to getting there. Here's the first truth, the one that hits us all at some point, but no one likes to talk about. Life isn't fair. I know, it's not what you want to hear. We grow up thinking that if we do the right thing, if we work hard, if we're good people, life will reward us. We expect things to balance out, for the scales to even out in our favor. But let me tell you, life doesn't work that way. It doesn't play by the rules we expect. You can be the kindest, hardest working person and still face hardships that feel unfair. Think about people who seem to have it all, who were born into privilege, who never have to struggle. And then think about those who work every day, pouring everything they have into their goals and still barely scrape by. It doesn't seem fair, right? But here's the thing. Fairness isn't guaranteed in life. And waiting for life to be fair, that's a trap that can hold you back. The truth is, if you keep expecting life to be fair, you'll spend more time frustrated than you will moving forward. But let's look at it from another angle. Even though life isn't fair, it's worth it. Those challenges, those hard moments, they shape you in ways comfort and ease never could. It's in those tough times when you feel like giving up that you discover just how strong you are. It's in the moments when you've been knocked down that you find the courage to stand back up. Because while life isn't fair, it is worth every struggle, every moment you fought through, every time you refused to quit. Here's what I want you to understand. Stop waiting for fairness. Don't expect life to hand you what you deserve, because it might not. Instead, focus on what you can control. Focus on your reaction, on your resilience, on your grit. Let go of the idea that life owes you anything. Because once you let go of that, once you stop expecting fairness, you'll start seeing life in a whole new way. You'll stop getting angry over things you can't change and start putting your energy into what you can. So when life throws something unfair at you, don't waste time feeling sorry for yourself. Don't waste time comparing yourself to others. Instead, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow through this? Because while life isn't fair, it's worth it when you learn to stand tall, to face every challenge with strength and determination. Remember, the people who succeed aren't always the ones with the easiest lives. They're the ones who chose to keep going, even when life wasn't fair. And that choice, that's what makes life worth it. Let's talk about failure. For most of us, failure feels like the end of the road. Society tells us that failing means we've fallen short, that we didn't make the cut, that we're somehow not good enough. But here's a lesson nobody tells you. Failure isn't your enemy. It's your greatest teacher. Every successful person you admire, every great figure who's left their mark on history, has failed more times than you might believe. They didn't make it despite their failures. They made it because of their failures. Think about this. When you fail, what really happens? You learn. You learn what doesn't work. You learn what your weaknesses are, and you gain insight that no book or lesson could ever teach you. Failure reveals things about ourselves that we might not want to see, but that we need to see. It points out the gaps in our skills, the places where we need to grow, and it humbles us in ways success never will. Now consider someone who has never failed, someone who has had everything handed to them. What happens when life eventually tests them? When they finally face something that doesn't go their way, they're unprepared. They're lost because they've never learned resilience. They've never had to push through the hard times. But those who faced failure, who've gotten back up time and time again, they're ready. They're strong. They know that failing isn't the end. It's just one step closer to success. So the next time you fail, don't beat yourself up. Don't let it break you. Instead, ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? Look for the lesson, the growth, the opportunity hiding in that failure. Because when you embrace failure as a teacher, you turn every setback into a stepping stone. Remember, the real mistake isn't in failing, it's in refusing to learn from it. Failure can be the end of the road, or it can be the beginning of your journey to greatness. The choice is yours. Everyone wants success. We dream about it, we set our goals around it, and we think about what life would be like if we finally made it. But here's the truth. Most people won't tell you. Success demands sacrifice. It's easy to look at successful people and see the rewards, the money, the freedom, the recognition. But behind every successful person, there's a story of long nights, of missed opportunities, of sacrifices that no one else sees. Look at the athletes who rise to the top. Behind every victory, every medal, there are years of early mornings, grueling practices, and countless hours spent perfecting their craft. They sacrifice time with friends, nights out, even comfort, just for the chance to be great. Or think of entrepreneurs, the ones who built their businesses from scratch. Before they made millions, they sacrificed stability, sleep, sometimes even relationships, to get to where they are. So ask yourself, what are you willing to sacrifice for your dreams? Because if you want success, real success, you will have to give something up. It might be time, it might be comfort, it might mean putting off temporary pleasures for something bigger. It's easy to say you want something, but when it comes to paying the price, most people hesitate. They see the mountain ahead, and instead of climbing, they walk away. But here's the truth. The sacrifice is worth it. Every hard choice, every moment you choose your dream over comfort, brings you one step closer to the life you want. And when you finally reach that success, when you look back and see everything you overcame, every sacrifice you made, it's a feeling like no other. It's the satisfaction of knowing you didn't take shortcuts, that you earned every bit of what you have. So, decide what you're willing to give. Decide what you're willing to sacrifice. Because success isn't just about dreaming big. It's about working hard, sacrificing, and pushing forward when things get tough. Remember, success doesn't come to those who only wish for it. It comes to those who are willing to work for it, no matter the cost. Let me ask you something. How often do you think about time? I mean, really think about it. We live our lives like we have all the time in the world, as if there will always be another tomorrow, another chance, another day. But the truth, time is the one thing you can never get back. Once it's gone, it's gone. And most people don't realize this until it's too late. Think of all the minutes, the hours, the days we waste worrying about things that don't matter. Scrolling through our phones, putting off our dreams, waiting for someday. But here's the harsh reality. Someday isn't promised. We keep telling ourselves we'll start living our dreams tomorrow. We'll reach out to loved ones tomorrow. We'll focus on what really matters tomorrow. But what if tomorrow never comes? Successful people, the ones who live with purpose, they understand the value of time. They don't let it slip through their fingers. They know that every minute is a chance to grow, to build, to create something meaningful. They make their time count because they know it's limited. And when you start thinking this way, when you start seeing time for what it really is, a precious, finite resource, you start living differently. So here's what I want you to do. Start valuing your time like it's gold. Because it is. Look at how you spend your days, how you spend your hours. Are you investing your time in things that matter, in things that bring you closer to your dreams? Or are you letting it slip away, one day at a time, on things that won't matter in the end? Time is precious, and it waits for no one. Don't wait until tomorrow to start living the life you want. Don't wait until later to chase your dreams, to reach out to people you care about, to make the changes you know you need. Your time is now. Every second you spend on what matters is a second well spent. And every second you waste is a second you can never get back. So don't waste it. Make it count. Here's another truth people rarely tell you. You can't please everyone, no matter how hard you try. We grow up wanting approval. We want to be liked, to be accepted, to be understood. But in the process, we often lose sight of who we really are. We start living for others instead of ourselves. And the problem with that? It's impossible to make everyone happy. Let me say this again. You can't please everyone, and you shouldn't try to. Trying to be everything to everyone is a surefire way to end up exhausted, frustrated, and lost. Because no matter how good you are, no matter how much you give, there will always be people who disagree, who criticize, who judge. The world is full of opinions, and if you let each one affect you, you'll end up questioning yourself, doubting your worth, and holding back from being your true self. Think about the people you admire most. Are they people who went out of their way to please everyone? Or are they people who stood firm in who they are, who lived by their own values, even when it wasn't popular? The reality is, the ones who make a real difference in this world aren't trying to fit in or please everyone around them. They're too busy being true to themselves, following their path and living out their purpose. So, make a decision today. Decide to live for you, not for the opinions of others. Don't let other people's expectations dictate your choices or determine your worth. Stand firm in who you are and what you believe. Not everyone will understand, and that's okay. The ones who truly matter, the ones who care, they'll respect you for being genuine. And the rest, let them think what they want. You don't need everyone's approval to live a life that's meaningful to you. So many people spend their lives searching for happiness, as if it's some treasure hidden at the end of a long journey. But here's the brutal truth. Happiness isn't something you find. It's something you create. Too often, we wait for happiness to come to us. We think, once I get this job, then I'll be happy. Or once I find the right person, happiness will follow. But happiness doesn't work that way. It's not a destination. It's a choice you make every single day. The people who understand this aren't waiting for a perfect life to feel fulfilled. They don't wait for all the pieces to fall into place. Instead, they find joy in the simple things, in the small moments. They create happiness by appreciating what they have, by choosing a positive outlook, by doing things that bring them joy. They don't rely on outside circumstances to dictate how they feel, because they know that happiness comes from within. Think about it this way. If you keep waiting for happiness to arrive, you're giving control of your life to things outside yourself. You're saying, I'll only be happy if this happens. And that's a dangerous way to live, because life doesn't always go the way we plan. There will be setbacks, disappointments, and moments that feel anything but happy. But if you decide to create your own happiness, to find it in every day, then you're in control. No matter what happens, you have the power to choose joy. So stop searching and start creating. Take a moment each day to focus on what you're grateful for, on the things that bring you joy. Happiness isn't found in some distant place or perfect moment. It's found in the way you live each day, in the little choices you make, in the way you decide to see the world. You don't have to wait for happiness to come to you. Create it, live it, and let it be a part of who you are. If there's one thing we can all count on in life, it's change. No matter how much we plan, no matter how hard we try to keep things steady, change is inevitable. But here's the brutal truth. Most people resist change. They fear it. They want things to stay comfortable, predictable. And while that's understandable, resisting change only leads to frustration and missed opportunities. The truth is, change is the only constant we have. Life is always moving, always shifting. The question isn't whether things will change. The question is how you'll handle it when they do. The people who succeed, who find happiness and fulfillment, they don't fear change, they embrace it. They know that every change, no matter how uncomfortable, brings with it a chance to grow, to learn, to experience something new. Think about a time in your life when everything felt uncertain, when change forced you to step out of your comfort zone. Maybe it was a new job, a move to a new city, or a challenge you didn't see coming. At the time, it might have felt overwhelming. But looking back, you can probably see how that change helped you grow, how it brought new opportunities, how it led to experiences you never would have had if everything had stayed the same. So here's what I want you to remember. Change is not the enemy. It's a part of life. And if you can learn to embrace it, if you can adapt and grow with it, you'll find yourself stronger, wiser, and more resilient. The next time life shifts unexpectedly, don't fight it. Lean into it. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow? Embracing change doesn't mean it won't be difficult, but it does mean you'll come out on the other side ready for whatever comes next. Life is full of change, and that's what makes it exciting, challenging, and worth living. So here we are. We've covered some of the hardest truths, the brutal life lessons no one teaches you, but now you know them, and that knowledge, it's powerful. These lessons aren't just ideas, they're tools. Tools that you can use to shape your life, to become stronger, wiser, and more resilient. These lessons can be the difference between a life that's merely lived and a life that's truly fulfilled. Remember, life isn't fair, and that's okay. Failure isn't the enemy, it's your teacher. Success will demand sacrifices, but the reward will be worth it. Time is precious, so make sure every moment counts. You can't please everyone, so focus on staying true to yourself. Happiness isn't something you find, it's something you create. And change, though challenging, is a part of growth. Embrace it all. Every one of these lessons can help you become the person you're meant to be. So go forward with these truths in mind. Don't shy away from the hard stuff. Don't avoid the challenges, the setbacks, the changes. Instead, lean into them. Let these lessons guide you. Let them strengthen you. And let them remind you that every struggle, every challenge is an opportunity for growth. Embrace every lesson life throws your way and use them to build a life that's rich, meaningful, and yours. Because at the end of the day, life may be tough, but so are you. And if you keep moving forward, if you keep learning and growing, you'll find yourself exactly where you're meant to be. Remember, don't be afraid to fall forward. Embrace every challenge, every lesson, and every opportunity to grow. This is your life. Live it fully, courageously, and without regret.